The summer transfer window is only 32 days away, and already the rumours are starting to heat up, and we have got three big topics for you here today. Is Xabi Alonso the guy to finally fix Chelsea? He has been heavily linked by a number of top-tier credible journalists. They have had an awful time in recent years, but they are still in an FA Cup final and could salvage their season. We're also talking Julian Alvarez. Is he the man to pick the lock, which could mean Arsenal could dominate for the next 2 to 3 years? They're only 3 games away from greatness. 2 more wins in the Premier League will secure Mikel Arteta his first Premier League title and Arsenal's first league title in more than 20 years. And speaking of Arteta, he has been heavily linked with a new contract. This apparently has been a topic of discussion amongst Arsenal's hierarchy for a number of months. And I feel that he right now is probably very, very close. Look, their season could still end trophyless, but it feels right now that Arsenal will walk away with minimum 1 trophy. Most people think 2, some people think 0. But before we go any further, I want to say a massive thank you to Oxford Natural for sponsoring this video. Make sure you check them out in the link in the description. Today's video is brought to you by Oxford Natural, Optimum Day and Night. Now, I'm not here to sit there and tell you that I've been on this for months, and this definitely isn't some magic fix. But the results simply speak for themselves. What I will tell you is, a lot of people are using this and the results are pretty hard to ignore. Optimum Day helps with energy, cravings, and keeping on track day to day. While Optimum Night is more about recovery, sleep, and letting your body reset. It's simple, nothing crazy, nothing out of the ordinary, but people are getting results. When you start hearing names like Mikel, England legend, Ballon d'Or winner, £35 down, immediately you want to know. Or you hear Robbie from AFTV or DR Sports, £80 down. That's a lot of weight. Or you hear Anita, immigration lawyer, £40 down. Or Linda, a business executive, nearly £50 down. And I've been hearing about this more and more, especially from people that are trying to keep themselves on track. So if you're sitting there thinking, I need to sort this out, maybe this is worth a look, this could be for you. Scan the QR code, click the link in the description, use code HTF70 where you will get 70% off your first order. No big promises from me, I'm just putting this in front of you. Thank you very much for Oxford Natural for sponsoring this video. Now, I want to say a thank you to Oxford Natural. I've actually got these, this wasn't a joke, I've actually got them right here. They are absolutely brilliant. Get a hold of them. I do feel a lot more energized. My sleep, especially this relegation battle, is a hell of a lot better. I want to start by talking about Mikel Arteta. Now, this has come out in the last couple of days. Now, I may be a little bit late to that. I was away in Croatia, so I do apologise. Mikel Arteta is edging closer to signing a new long-term contract extension with Arsenal that would keep him at the club until 2029, which would be nearly 9 years or so since since joining Arsenal. He's won an FA Cup. He's reached his first Champions League final. He's been in 4 Premier League title races, which is a very, very good career so far as a young manager. And he is only 3 games away from winning a historic double. Many have criticised, many have said he's the bridesmaid, not the bride. Are Arsenal good enough, etc, etc. This tweet then goes on to say, if completed, the new deal would see Arteta spend close to a decade in charge at the Emirates, underlining the club's continued faith in the Spaniard and long-term project he has built in North London. Since taking over in 2019, Arteta has transformed Arsenal back into genuine title contenders and re-established a clear identity both on and off the pitch. And that is coming out from Nico. Now, I feel that this contract situation should be put on ice until these 3 games are done. Many Arsenal fans are going to come out there and say, oh, let's get it done, let's get it done now, let him sign. However, if they walk away trophyless, a lot of Arsenal fans are going to be jumping on his back. Now, as a neutral, I've seen my club have Igor Tudor, Thomas Frank, and De Zerbi. What Arsenal have done well is they have stuck to their guns and they have backed Mikel Arteta. They've given him $1 billion in nearly 6 years. They've stuck by him when he's gone through some tough times. He's got out the other side of adversity. And now he's in his 4th Premier League title race, which for a very young, inexperienced manager, bearing in mind that was his first job. He may have been Pep's right-hand man at Manchester City, but this was his first managerial role. And so far, he has been very good for a quote-unquote beginner. If he gets over the line and wins a Premier League title, and there are still Arsenal fans that want him sacked, I just don't understand your mindset, your logic. If he goes out there and then wins this fixture, which is only, I want to say, 16 days away from a Champions League final. And we'll get on to PSG in a minute because both PSG and Arsenal are both heavily linked to Julian Alvarez. If he gets this game over the line, he would have done something no Arsenal manager has ever done. They have only reached 2 Champions League finals in their club's history. He has only been a manager for 5 or 6 years. He could win a double, which is absolutely insane. It really is. Now, Julian Alvarez has been heavily linked to Arsenal for, I want to say, a good 6 to 12 months now. Andrea Berta was the guy who brought him to Atletico Madrid. He was at Atletico Madrid a long time alongside Simeone. They won 2 league titles. They won a couple of Europa Leagues. They got to a Champions League final and lost in extra time. You know, he knows what it's like to work next to a manager long term. And Julian Alvarez this season has been very, very good. He's got more than 50 goals since joining Atletico Madrid. And this season was Atletico Madrid's highest ever Champions League goal scorer with more than 10 goals. He has been linked to PSG, right? I feel like if he joins PSG, where does he play? Because Ousmane Dembele has played his best football in that 9 role. You've got Kvaratskhelia on the left. You've got Desiree Doué on the right. Now, you might be saying, Henry, think about the depth. They also have Bradley Barcola, who has been linked to a move away, and Lee. And all of those forwards are so versatile. Dembele can play on the right. Kvaratskhelia can play on the right. Doué can play as a false 9. Like, they can chop and change, and they do chop and change a lot. Whereas Arsenal need, I would say, an attacker a hell of a lot more. Now, the simple thing that some people might say is whoever wins this game could quite easily go out there and get Julian Alvarez. And I would say that this is Arsenal's biggest game since the last Champions League final. There is so much riding on this. PSG have more than 10 days after their final game in Ligue 1 to rest, recover, and go again. Now, Bernardo Silva, who is known as one of the most professional Premier League players, has come out on multiple occasions, and he has said it's better for a footballer to play a game every 3 or 4 days to keep those energy levels up, to keep the performance levels up, to keep going. Having a 10-day break can sometimes be lethargic. And I'll give you an example. PSG had a 2 to 3 week break when they played against Tottenham, my team, in the Super Cup final. We went 2-0 up from goals from Romero and Van de Ven. Now, PSG weren't great in that game. Ultimately, they beat us on penalties. However, Arsenal are a far superior team to Tottenham. If they go into this game thinking, do you know what, we're going to blow these lot away. Bearing in mind, Arsenal are the only team in the Champions League this season not to have lost the game. We went to the Parc des Princes and scored 3 goals. Bayern Munich have got in behind multiple times and scored 5 goals this season. Arsenal defensively are stronger than anyone. They've only conceded, 25 Premier League goals. It feels like if Arsenal are going to win it, it'd be 1-0 to the Arsenal. If PSG are going to win it, it'd be similar to some of their recent wins. I don't think they'll do what they did against Inter Milan last year in the Champions League final and win 5-0. Equally, Inter Milan are renowned as a strong defensive team. But it feels like this game, whoever wins could have the bragging rights to get Julian Alvarez. Now, the question I just said, where does he play at PSG? There's another question. Where does he play at Arsenal? Because Gyökeres this season's got more than 25 goal contributions. Bukayo Saka looks like he's at his best now. And on the left, you've got a number of players you can play there. Even Ranieri's going to come back. You've got Max Dowman, you've got Martinelli, you've got Eberechi Eze, and you've got Leandro Trossard. I think his best position is as a second striker or the striker. He could play just off of Victor Gyökeres in a really advanced 10 And you could then put Eberechi Eze out on the left. This will be a manager's dream. This will be a selection headache for Mikel Arteta. Now, there is many different transfer fees floating around. Is it 60? Is it 70? Is it 80? Is it 90? Is it 100 million? Now, Andrea Berta will have an excellent relationship with Julian Alvarez because ultimately he was the one to take him to Atletico Madrid from Manchester City. And he knows Mikel Arteta. So apparently they've had a number of conversations. Well, if you believe that, who knows? I also want to speak, we'll come back to Arsenal in a little while. Alonso. Xabi Alonso is in the driving seat to become the new Chelsea manager, along with Iriola from Bournemouth. Now, Chelsea fans are getting extremely excited. Now, I had a chat with Louis on the Football Terrace on Monday night, and he said to me, and I quote, "It doesn't matter who the manager is, because ultimately the hierarchy of this football club needs to change their vision, their structure, and how they operate. Because Chelsea have spent £1.8 billion, and there's a handful of players you can pull out and go, do you know what? That was a great signing. Maybe 6. Enzo Fernandez, Cole Palmer, Caicedo, Esteval, João Pedro. And then you're scratching your head. £1.8 billion to see Alejandro Garnacho start at left back to still not have a solid centre-back pairing. Cucurella's done well, to be fair. But other than that, there's a handful of players. They have to change the way they operate. Now, I personally believe this is a huge gamble for Xabi Alonso. He did an unbelievable Bundesliga undefeated season with Bayer Leverkusen. Won a DF Pokal and also reached the Europa League final where Ademola Lookman literally crucified them for Atalanta. He went to Real Madrid, and just like Arbeloa and just like a number of managers, Jose Mourinho is about to go there, it hasn't worked for him. He got sacked, he left. Joining Real Madrid, there is absolutely no shame in it not working out. There is a huge amount of pressure from Florentino Perez. The demand from the fan base is insane. You either have to adapt or perish. Now, I look at the situation at Chelsea, and it looks like right now, career suicide. Because since Clear Lake and Blue Car have been there, you've had Graham Potter, you've had Enzo Maresca who left, you've had Pochettino, you've had potentially now Xabi Alonso, you've had Thomas Tuchel, you've had a number of managers. Now, if I'm Xabi Alonso or I'm Iriola, if Iriola doesn't work out at Chelsea, it will be like, oh, but he only done it at Bournemouth. He didn't do it at a big club. It probably makes more sense for Xabi Alonso to go there because ultimately he has dealt with the pressure of Real Madrid and he has won a league title. I do believe if they change the way they operate and start signing some experienced professional players and get players that actually are going to improve the 11 and improve the squad, not for a sell-on value, Xabi Alonso could be successful there. I really do believe that. He's a good coach. He can play a number of systems, 3-4-3 or 4-3-3, even a 3-5-2. Let me know your thoughts down below. Make sure you drop a like and I will see you all in the next one. I am out.